So I'm going to expound a part of the Maha Satipattana Sutta first for about for a few minutes. Then afterwards I'll be talking the Dhamma, and we'll also not forget to practice some more meditation before we wind up, and we can after that we can transfer notes and wind up. Okay, now so you can calm down, compose yourselves, and listen to this chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Evam me suttam ekam samayam bhagava urusu viharati kammassa dhammam nama gurunam nigamo tatra ko bhagava bhikkhu amantesi. Vadante tite bhikkhu bhagavato paccasosum bhagava etadavoce. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo Sattaram visuddhiya sukha pariddevanam samatikkamaya dukkha domanassanam pattangamaya nyayassa adhigamaya nibbanassa saccikiriyaya. Yadidam cattaro satipatthana patame cattaro ida bhikkhave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati Ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinayya loke abhijjā domanassaṁ vedanāsu vedanānupassī viharati Ātāpi sampajāno Satimā vinayya loke abhijjā domanassaṁ citte cittanupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinayya loke abhijjā domanassaṁ Dhammesu dhammānupassī viharati ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinayya loke Avijja domanasam Katancha bhikkhave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu aranyagato va suññāgāragato va Rukkhamūlagato va suññāgāragato va Nisidati pallankam ahujitva ujung kayam panidhaya parimukam sating upattaditva so sato assa sati sato passa sati Digham va assa santo Digham assa samiti pajanati Digham va assa santo Digham assa samiti pajanati Prasangva assa santo prasang assa samiti pajanati prasangva assa santo prasang assa samiti pajanati Sabbakaya patisangvedi assa sissami sikkati Sabbakaya patisangvedi assa sissami sikkati Passang bhayam kaya sankharam Assa sissami sikkati Passang bhayam kaya sankharam Assa sissami sikkati Seyatapi bhikkhave dappho vamakaru va vamakaram deva siva Digam va anchanto Digam ancha iti pajanati Digam rasam va anchanto rasam anchamiti pajanati Evameva ko bhikkhave bhikkhu Digam va assa santo Digam assa samiti pajanati Digam va assa santo Digam passa samiti pajanati Prasang va assa santo Prasang assa samiti pajanati Prasang va assa santo Prasang assa samiti pajanati Sabbakaya patisangvedi assa sissamiti sikkati. Sabbakaya patisangvedi assa sissamiti sikkati. Vassambhayam kaya sankharam assa sissamiti sikkati. Vassambhayam kaya sankharam assa sissamiti sikkati. Iti ajjattam vākāye kāyānupassī viharati bahiddhā vākāye kāyānupassī viharati ajjatta bahiddhā vākāye kāyānupassī viharati samudaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiņ viharati vaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiņ viharati samudaya vaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiņ viharati atthikāyoti vā manassa satipaccupatthitā hoti yāvadeva ஞானமත්තාය patissati mattāය අනිශ්චිතෝච විහෙරති. ඒවමේව කෝ භික්ඛවේ භික්ඛු කායේ කායානුපස්සී විහෙරති පුනච පරං භික්ඛවේ භික්ඛු ගච්ඡන්තෝ වා ගච්ඡාමිති පජානාති ठितो वा ठितोमीति पजानाति निसिन्नो वा निसिन्नोमीति पजानाति सयानो वा सयानोमीति पजानाति යථාවා පනස්ස කායෝ පනිහිතෝ හෝති තථා තථානං පජානාති ඉති අජ්ජත්තං වා කායේ කායානුපස්සී විහෙරති බහිද්ධා වා කායේ කායානුපස්සී විහෙරති සමුදය ධම්මානුපස්සී වා කායස්මින් විහෙරති වය ධම්මානුපස්සී වා කායස්මින් විහෙරති සමුදය වය ධම්මානුපස්සී වා කායස්මින් විහෙරති අත්ථිකායෝති වා පනස්ස සතිපච්චුපට්ඨිතා හෝති යාව දේව ඥානමත්තාය පතිස්සති මත්තාය අනිශ්චිතෝච විහෙරති නච කිංචි ලෝකේ උපාදීයතේ Evameva ko bhikkhave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati. Punaca param bhikkhave bhikkhu abhikkante patikkante sampajānakari hoti. Ālokite vilokite sampajānakari hoti. Sanghāti patta chīvara dhārane sampajānakari hoti. Asite pite kāite sāite sampajānakari hoti. Uchchāra passāva kante sampajānakari hoti. Gate tite nisinne sutte jagarite bhāsite tunhi bhāve sampajānakari hoti. Iti ajjattam vā kāye kāyanupassī viharati. Bahiddā vā kāye kāyanupassī viharati. Samudaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiñ viharati. Vaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiñ viharati. Samudaya vaya dhammānupassī vā kāyasmiñ viharati. Atte kāyoti vā panassa satipaccupaṭṭitā hoti. Yāva deva ஞānamattāya patissati mattāya anissito ca viharati. Naca kiñci loke upadiyati. Evameva ko bhikkhave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati. Etena sacca vajjena suddhite hotu samppada. Etena sacca vajjena suddhite hotu samppada. Etena sacca vajjena suddhite hotu samppada. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This is just only this. This switch off this time. Okay, so I have just related a part. That's only a very small part of the Maha Satipattana Sutta, the discourse on the establishment of mindfulness. You can call Yeah, because it's in Pali language, I think you don't understand. So that's why. So I'll be talking in English or English or Sinhala. So feel free if you have any questions, you can ask in Sinhala or in English. I also don't know each and every word of the Pali language, but I can give the idea, the meaning briefly. So the Buddha teachers, the Buddha was residing in Evam Me Sutang Ekang Samyam Bhagava Kuru's village. So the Buddha was living in Kuru village, in Kuru. So, Kammasa Dhamma Nama Kuruna Nigam. Actually, I think it's a part of the village, Kammasa Dhamma. So to the people there, the Buddha says, Ekayano ayam bhikkhave magga. This is the one and only path. When we say like that, we come across also throughout the Buddha's teaching. Similarly, now, for example, we take the Colombo city. You can come in several directions, three directions to the Colombo city, right? So then there's a contradiction. But so we can think about on that. What I feel is like the only path is the Arya Ashtanga Marg, the Noble Eightfold Path. So already you are aware about it, you have learned about it. So Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo sattanam visuddhi, for the liberation of living beings. This is the only one and only path. So these are the satras. Satipattana, the four foundations of mindfulness. Four Satipattana. Satya Pihituagam, for establishment of mindfulness. Satya Upattana, that's the way it becomes Satya Upattana. Establishing Upattana is establishment of mindfulness. Satya Pihitu again. So that's what we are doing throughout today. Each and every activity we are making a part of meditation. So Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and Dhammanupassana. So Kayanupassana is so what I just related is what the Buddha explained on Kayanupassana. There's some more. This is only a part of it. So Kayanupassana. Gacchanto va gacchati pajana. So that means when you're going ahead, when you're walking, when you're going, while you're going, you know that you're going. Gacchanto va gacchati pajana. Titova, while you're standing, you know I'm standing. Titova, titomiti paja. Sayano, nisinno. Nisinno, while you're seated, you know I'm seated. Nisinno, nisinno miti pajana. Sayano, sayano miti pajana. While you're lying down, you know that you're lying. ඉදිරියට යනකොට ඉදිරියට යනවා කියලා දාන්න. හිටගෙන ඉන්නකොට හිටගෙන ඉන්නවා කියලා දාන්න. වාඩි වෙලා ඉන්නකොට වාඩි වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියලා දාන්න. සායනය කරනකොට නැත්නම් ඇල වෙලා ඉන්නකොට ඇල වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියලා දාන්න. තමන් දාන්න. යථාවා පනස්ස කායෝ මනිහිතෝ හෝති. අථා තථානම් පජාන. There's something very beautiful here. Every moment, whatever you do, when you are sketching, when you are folding, when you are sketching, so we can say that this, but practically, how hard is it, right? Every moment, even when you are speaking, whatever you are doing, you are looking around, යථාවා පනස්ස කායෝ පනිහිතෝ හොති. කය යම් යම් තැනක තියේද ඒ විදිහට Taman සිහිය පිහිටවනවා. ශරීරය යම් යම් විදිහට whatever the body is in the particular posture it is, whatever posture it is, your mind is aware of the posture, of the position of the body. So like that, in each, after each of these stanzas, about the Buddha says, "Iti ajjattamba kaye kayanupassī vihati." So that this particular part, I'm not sure about the whole meaning, but I can say the idea internally. That means ajjat is internally, bahitta is external. So internally, you're aware. Iti ajjattamba kaye kayanupassī vihati. Bahittava kaye kayanupassī vihati. Ajjatta bahittava kaye kayanupassī vihati. That means both inside, internally and externally. Yeah, mindful on the body. So when we say the body, it can also mean actually we tend to think only this body, our body, the physical body. It can also mean now, for example, the breath. It's also the body. It's considered the body. So that is when you go with deep. That's in Abhidhamma. First, for the beginner, at the beginner, you can just consider the body. But when you go deeper in practice, gradually you can consider. This, what I just said, I came across while listening to a Dhamma, or that's why when I was reading a Dhamma book. So, iti ajjattamba kaye kayanupassī vihati. So we did not get entangled in words. We have to just be aware of the body. So the breath also can be, so it's also actually a part of the body, right? If you say the atoms are there, so inside in the breath we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, so like that. Samudaya dhammanupassīva kāyasmiņ vihati. Samudaya actually means, I'm not sure about the exact meaning, it's like the origin, the cause, yeah? Samudaya dhammanupassīva kāyasmiņ vihati. Vaya dhamma, vaya is like, as being the cessation, I think. We can refer to a Dhamma book and the exact meaning. So I just want to give an idea about this particular discourse. Samudaya vaya dhammanupassīva kāyasmiņ vihati. Like that, attikayo divapanassa Satipattana Sutta. Yava deva jnanamattaya patissatimattaya anissitavaca vihati. Nacha kinchi loke upati. That means you're not attached to anything in the world. What we just discussed in the morning, letting go. So actually the Dhamma is there in this discourse. We need to put it into practice. That is what the Buddha also wanted us to do it. To put the Dhamma in the Buddha's teaching into practice by being constantly mindful. Sati. So then, so that's the first part of the Kayanupassana. Then the next part, Apikante, Patikkante, Sampajanakāru hoti. Actually, that also means like when you're going ahead. It can be when you're walking, or even it can also mean you have started some work, some activity, some task. Can be something, cooking some food, or writing something, or reading a book. So you're at the beginning also, you're mindful that you're going to start this. And in the course of doing the activity also, you're mindful. And towards the end also, your mind. Abhikkante, patikkante, sampajanakari bhavati. Alokite, vilokite, sampajanakari bhavati. That means when you are looking ahead, you are looking like this, alokite, and vilokite. When you are looking around, also you are mindful. Then the next line, Sangapi Patta Chivara Dharam Sampajanakari. That means when for the monks and the lay people as well, for the monks is when you're wearing the robe, the belt, the bowl, and you're handling the bowl, Chivara is robes. Sampajanakari. If you take for the lay people, it's the same when you're wearing clothes, when you're using your plate, cup, each moment, your mind. Then asite, pite, kaite, saite, sampajana, kari, both. So that's the most important thing. When you're having food, asite, when you're eating, chewing, tasting the food, asite. Pite is when you're drinking. Kaite, saite, when you're tasting, swallowing like that. So we never think it's a long process, right? Even the moment of having food, you're chewing or masticating the food. So it's next it's saliva, tasting, and your swallow. And it goes through the esophagus, right? The food, the morsel of food. So that is, I don't think we are about the whole process, right? But we can at least be mindful the moment we are tasting, biting, masticating, chewing the food, and swallow. So like that. Then Uchara Pasava Kami. So Sampajana Kari. And all the waste is released, right? Then we answer the call of nature when we use the washroom. Also, we are mindful. Now I'm going for this purpose to the washroom. You answer the call of nature. So you're aware, you're mindful. Then Gate, Hite, Nisinne, Sutte, Jagarite, Vasite, Tunni Bhavu, Sampajanakari. Gate is when you're going. Gate. Hite is when you're standing. Nisinne, it's repeated again. Nisinne, seated. Saite, when you're lying down. Bhasite, when you're talking, when you're speaking. Tunni Bhavu. Can you guess what it is? What it is? Silence. Arya Tushne Buddha Bhava. Tunni Bhava. When you're observing noble sight, also, your mind. So, dear Dhamma friends, the Buddha teaches. So this is another part of the Dhamma, not in the Maha Satipattana Discourse. It just came to my mind right now. Sannipatuto Vikkare Dvayam Karan. That means when you get together like this, now today also all of you have gathered. When you get together like this, there are two options. What are they? Dhammeva kata, aryo tunniva. Yeah. Dhammeva kata means you can engage yourself in a Dhamma talk, expounding the Dhamma, like our time right now. Or you can, among yourselves, you can discuss the Dhamma or something beneficial for your lives. Now, if you get together and speak, for example, on UK about politics, she might begin to speak, right? Then will it be something beneficial? It depends. If you feel it's something beneficial, then it is beneficial. But if it's something that is useful for enrichment of your life, right? to be more in the path, to follow the Buddha's teachings, then only I would say it is something beneficial, right? So Dhammiva Katha, that is, engage yourselves in a Dhamma talk or in discussing the Dhamma. The other option. Now, there you don't have anything to talk about, for example, but you also want to subdue your mind. That's the other option. What is it? Yeah, it's very easy to say noble silence, but it is hard to practice. Why do I say so? You can be observing noble silence, but you can be thinking something unnecessary. That's the nature of the mind. You can be thinking about something, perhaps not always. It can be something good and also something bad. Very hard because this is the monkey mind, right? So that's the nature. It's not your fault. It's the nature of the mind. So that's why this is where meditation becomes important. It helps you to subdue your mind. Whether you like it or not, your mind might begin to think something unwanted, something unnecessary. Just an example. But if you want to think something good, you can think. But as I mentioned in the morning, in meditation, we learn to let go everything. We simply observe. So observing the mind with and being mindful, that is called noble silence. If you're thinking about something and being silent, that is not real noble silence. If you're mindful and simply learning to letting go, that is called noble silence. Arya means noble, uttum, usas, higher, great. So it's very simple, but we need to practice it. We need to apply it to our lives. Okay, so that is about the next part of the Kayanupassana.
Sound good, but they are saying to try this, it's even better. You see?
Oh, okay. Ah. From here.
Well, it comes nicely.
Okay. So again about so I was talking about kaya anupassana. So passana means looking, the Pali word. Now you have heard the word vipassana, so like that, looking or observing. In Sinhala we can say vipassana means nuwanin daki. So when you use the prefix V in Sinhala, vipassana, so that means nuwanin daki. That means looking with wisdom. With wisdom. You're observing with wise attention. Yoniso manasikara. Instead of unwise attention, there's wise attention. So this is what I have been explaining now after expounding the Maha Satipattana Discourse. So now I'll also be explaining about, because you might have wondered why we practiced the 4 kinds of meditation: Buddhanusati, Mettanusati, Asubhamusati, and Marananusati, before we start the meditation on the breath. So no harm, you can start straight away with the breath, it doesn't matter. But the Buddha has also taught these 4 kinds of meditation for protection. So Buddhanusati, I won't be explaining much about Buddhanusati. Buddhanusati, just a bit. So it's our teacher, the Buddha, right? The awakened one. So Anusati means reflecting over or recollecting. You're recalling to your mind the virtues of the Buddha. So why the Buddha is known as Arahant? Simply recalling. Now, why the Buddha is called Arahant? So the Buddha abandoned all kinds of evil. Then the Buddha did not commit any evil, even in secret. Then the awakened one destroyed all the vices. Vices means the mental defilements, in Sinhala keles, or in Pali kiles. So it's simply, what you have to keep in your mind is simply that the Buddha's virtues, actually they are numerous, innumerable or numerous virtues. You cannot come to an end, actually, speaking about the virtues of the Buddha. They are countless or numerous. So we can just call upon to the mind, to your mind, if at least one virtue of the Buddha. The Buddha abandoned all kinds of evil. The Buddha put an end to evil, or like that. It's simply to recall to your mind how virtuous the Buddha is, how virtuous the Buddha was. So that is about Buddha Anusati. Then Metta Anusati means radiating thoughts on loving kindness. So, what is loving kindness? What does it mean? Have you heard about loving kindness? Yeah. Just what have you already heard about loving kindness? Wishing well-being, yeah, that's right. Yeah, wishing well-being for others. Correct. So normally in Sinhala we say hitavat bhava suhada bhava. That means now the same feeling you have towards a friend. Now you're someone who is friend loving. You're helpful to your friend. So a sense of intimacy towards yourself, first towards yourself. So you must not forget first yourself. You have to, for example, now you have to look into your needs, yeah, needs of the body. Yeah, what's your name? What's your name? Yeah, yeah. As Mrs. Anoja mentioned, to wish well. We can also say well-being. So well-being first towards yourself. That's why we say Mama Nidukwenna. May I be well and happy. So after that, gradually you can extend it to others, your parents, teachers, loved ones, and so on, to all living beings. So first, towards yourself, the Buddha teaches attana meva patama. First, you have to consider yourself. That is not being selfish. In not that sense. It's first considering your own bodily needs, your well-being. So first, if you're now, if you only go in the right path, the others will also go in the right path, right? For example, there's an animal, I can't remember exactly, I think it's the tarava or the duck. I think there's a particular animal, a bird. From the moment they are born, the parents, they go crookedly. Like that, the children also follow the parents. So that's just an example. So what I'm trying to say is now, we have to think about or consider our own well-being. First, establish yourself in the right path. Then only it will be, others will be influenced in the correct way. Okay, so may I be well and happy, and then you radiate this same kind of feeling towards others, the same attitude, loving kindness towards others, towards all living beings. So after that, now this is what I need to explain, because I think some of you might have not heard the correct part, that is Asubhanasati. Now, why do we have to consider the loathsome nature of the body? You might pose a question. We all look beautiful and attractive. Why do we have to consider the impurities of the body? Have you got that question already? Some of you might be having. Why do we have to think about the impurities of the body? This is the reason. Now, if we get attracted, then we are giving rise to lobha. We are helping the lobha to manifest, right? That means craving or greed. You're holding, you're attached too much to this body. But when you call upon your mind, the loathsome or the repulsive nature, then it helps to subdue this greed or craving to the body. That's the idea of it. So if time permits also, I can also relate a particular sutta that is called the Vittakka Santana Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. When I explain that also, you will get a thorough, good idea, a thorough idea, not thorough, but will improve your understanding about this. So I hope you got the you got the answer why we need to reflect on the loathsome nature of the body. So what is the reason to get rid of, not to get too attached to the body? That's right. Of course, we don't go to the extreme of it because during the Buddha's time, there was a particular monk. He had gone to the extreme of it that the thought came of like committing suicide. Yeah? That means he got fed up of his own body. So that is going to the extreme of it. We must be careful. So the Buddha teaches to avoid the two extremes. In this first sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha says, Majjhima Patipada, Ubo Ante Anupagamma, Majjhima Patipada. Dveme Bhikkhave Anta Pabbajitena Nasevitabba. You must not, so bhikkhu means to the monks as well as the lay people. It means individuals actually. Because initially it was expounded to the bhikkhus, to the monks. However, it also means upasaka, bhikkhu, bhikkhune, upasaka, upasika. All in the monks, the nuns, the lay devotees, all men and women who have undertaken the 5 precepts and following the Buddha's teachings, the Noble Eightfold Path. So, I was suddenly it disappeared what I was talking about. Too much attached to the body. So we must not go to the extreme of it. Of course, then you might tend to think that there's no use of this body. But when we practice loving kindness, we become aware about the value of our own well-being, right? So that's why we have to practice at least a little, all 4 kinds of meditation. Buddhanusati. So according to certain individuals, it depends. Like if there's someone who has a lot of faith in the Buddha, that part I haven't studied in detail, right? But why? But I can say certain individuals need to practice certain kinds of meditation. So the Buddha has could foresee actually. For example, the Buddha saw about Chulapantaka. Have you heard that story? Some of you might have heard. Doesn't matter, I'll relate it. So Chulapantaka and Mahapantaka were two brothers. So Mahapantaka became a monk. So the younger brother, Chulapantaka, also when he saw people, devotees going to the temple with flowers, incense, so he also thought of becoming a monk. However, there was a weakness in Chulapantaka. Mahapantaka saw this. What is it? He was given a verse of 4 lines to memorize. But Chulapantaka, however much he tried first day, second day, like that. 4 months passed. But even after 4 months, he could not say by heart this verse of 4 lines. So Mahapantaka, his elder brother, saw this as a weakness of his younger brother. So he suggested to Chulapantaka to go back to their life and practice meritorious actions as before. But what do you think, Dhamma friends? Did Chulapantaka, did he like it when Mahapantaka said that? No, because his inclination was to lead a life as a monk. He was determined to lead a life of a monk, Chulapantaka. So Chulapantaka, when his elder brother said like this, he began to cry in front of the monastery, at the gate to the monastery. So the Buddha saw through his divine eye, the Buddha saw Chulapantaka's state. Then out of great compassion, the Buddha called him back into the monastery, and the Buddha went into his own chamber, Gandakilya, he said, and fetched a clean white piece of cloth. So what is it? A clean white piece of cloth. So just imagine now the cloth is clean and also it is white. So the Buddha asked Chulapantaka to raise it. So it's morning time, there's sunshine, and to repeat this line, Rajo Harana, Rajo Harana, Rajo Harana. So that means remove the dust. Rajo, Rajas is duvila or dust. Harana, to remove. Duvila Harana. Remove the dust. So actually, the dust means the defilements, kilesa of the own mind, kilesa. So Chulapantaka, as instructed by the Buddha, repeated these lines. Rajo Harana. So it is said, now the Buddha had, through his divine eye, the Buddha was able to give the suitable instruction, that is called the Kamatan, to this particular monk, Chulapantaka. Chulapantaka, he had been, it is said that in one of his past lives, also he had been doing a similar thing, with the handkerchief. He had wiped his own sweat in the face when he was a king in one of his previous lives. So the Buddha was able to see that this is the suitable instruction for Chulapantaka through his divine eye. So that's why the Buddha said, brought him to his, went into his room and fetched a clean white piece of cloth to keep it in Chulapantaka's palm or hand. So at the end, towards the end, only the Buddha expounded a verse. Utthane nappamadena sanyamena damena cha dipang Kairatha Medhavi Yang Ogho Nabhekirati. So this is a verse in the Dhammapada, in the upper Mada Vakka. The second collection on heedfulness. Uttara means nopasubhasna utsahe, or steadfastness. You arouse effort. In Sinhala we say arambana lada veeriya, වගේම වීරිය පවත්වා ගැනීම, වගේම අවසානයේ දක්වා වීරිය පවත්වා ගැනීම. So you arouse effort, you sustain the effort towards the end. Nopasubhasna utsahe, unwavering effort. Appamada, uttana, appamada, uttana, veda, then appamada means heedfulness. So if we, in other words, it's like now what you're practicing today is also heedfulness. You're not wasting even a moment. You're mindful, not wasting time on akusala, but kusala. Skillfully using your mind on kusala, wholesome activities. So kusala also means skill. What is it? The skill. You're cultivating your skill in wholesome deeds, wholesome actions. Now, for example, now what myself or you, what you did, if there's something wrong you did, something like not looks that good previous time, now you try to correct it. You try to modify and correct it and do it in the better way, right? This time. It can be something a shortcoming, right? Whatever it is. You try to correct it to the best of your ability. And you try to do it in a more better way. So that's you're developing the skill. That is kusala. So uttane appamade. Sanya means restraining the five senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. Dhammenacha, guarding your mind, body, and speech. So now the Buddha, it is I am reminded of a small incident that took place in the Buddha's time. So there was Darucharya, you might have heard. So the Buddha said, I say it in brief. So the Buddha said to Darucharya, Ditte ditta mattam bhavisati, sute sutta mattam bhavisati, vinyate mute mutta mattam bhavisati, vinyate vinyata mattam bhavisati. That means now it's very simple, what I have already discussed actually. When you're seeing, you're seeing. You don't allow thoughts, the normal tendency of the human mind is you try to associate some more things, right, to what you see. Now, for example, you see a beautiful flower, you feel like, for example, you feel like taking a photo of it, right? So many other things come, right? But I would say already there's a photo in the retina, right? So just when you're seeing, that's all. Without adding some more thoughts. But when we want to think about it, of course we can. But for the practice of mindfulness, what we learn is ditte ditta mattam bhavisati. We know when we are seeing, we are seeing. When we are hearing, we are only hearing. We don't try to identify what it is and from where it comes, like that. This is actually in the practice of meditation. But in ordinary life, sometimes we have to think. what is this, or the sound, if it's the sound, where did it come from, like that. But in meditation, this is what the Buddha teaches. So if you go back to ordinary life and stay like that, that will be something, then you won't be able to get along with your day-to-day life in a proper way. So this is just for understanding. So sute sutamatam bhavisati, ditte dittamatam bhavisati, sute sutamatam bhavisati, when you're hearing. Sute is when you're hearing. So when mutte means when you're danena, I can to the tongue. If it's for the tongue, tasting, then the body feeling or experience, touch. ඒ කියන්නේ දැනෙනකොට දිවට රස දැනෙනකොට ශරීරයට ස්පර්ශය දැනෙනකොට නේ. සිහිය පිහිටුවා ගන්න. You are mindful when you are tasting, if it's the tongue, when you are experiencing sensations. So vinyate means that is actually thoughts, okay? Being mindful on thoughts. Okay, so I think I was explaining about Asubha Anusati. I'll come to that. So yeah, you got an idea about that, why we practice the impurities of the body, simply to not to get too attached to this body. Then why do we practice Marananasati? Meditation on death. Yeah, someone from the back. Why do we practice, why do we reflect on death? Why do you think? Pardon? Yeah. That is when we don't get attached. That is when you practice Asubhansati. That means in death also you say like that. Can you explain someone else a little bit more? Yeah, uncertainty of life. Now, if imagine you're not reflecting on death at all, how would you get along with life? Pardon? Yeah, that's the thing. You're just keeping it to another day, just postponing it to another day. Yeah, you won't see the urgency, right? That's the point. So the moment you reflect on death, you know, death can happen even the next moment. We never know. So that is the uncertainty of life. Yeah? Life is uncertain. Death is certain. So when we reflect consistently, then we are reminded of the urgency of the practice of meditation, or it can be mindfulness. So that's the reason we reflect on death. And also you will develop confidence. We all face death. So at the moment of death also, you're confident. This is something we have, is a part of nature. You're quite confident and you can face death not with a scattered mind, but with mindfulness. That's one of the benefits of loving kindness, actually. There are 11 benefits. So as I also, we can talk a little bit more about another half an hour, right? After that, we can have a brief session of meditation and we can stop. That's the last part is mostly meditation on loving kindness. So now I would like to speak about what I mentioned. the Vittakka Santana Sutta. So that means how to get rid of distracting thoughts. So I think all of you want to know about it also, how to get rid of distracting thoughts. But you must also keep in mind, this is something natural. To confront distracting thoughts, it's a part of your practice. So what the Buddha teaches here is, that means not to practice this always, because only if the need arises, that means you try practicing mindfulness, and only as the last option, you can make use of these ways of how to get rid of distracting thoughts. So for each one, there's also a Pali phrase. I can mention what I remember. So the first one is Anya Ninitta Gahana. So that means now this first part, you can, there are 4 ways actually. One by one, I'll be explaining. So now you see something pleasant or attractive. For example, we take, now normally we all have it, male and female. So the male is attracted to the female is attracted to the male. Or it can be something else, a beautiful flower, okay? So now when we take the something animate, lively, so it's a female figure, if it's for a male person, okay? So now you are attracted. Then the Buddha teaches, if it's something animate, you consider the loathsome nature of the body, the repulsive nature of the body. So this is where this becomes very important, useful. Asubhana Sutta. You call upon to your mind the loathsome parts, at least one, the hair, out of what it is made. The blood, so the smell of it, if you take even urine and excrement in the body. So their appearance, where they are, it is something loathsome, unattractive, repulsive. So that's how we try to, so when there's an animate object, attractive, lust arises. That is related to lobha, right? So this is where asubhanasati, reflecting on the loathsome nature of the body, becomes useful. So that is just one part. Then the next part is, now you see, we say someone whom you're angry with. Of course, we don't have to have anybody who is angry. Just imagine there's somebody with whom you're angry. Okay? Just because he did something wrong, you're angry with him. Now, what can you, what are the wholesome thoughts you can arouse in your mind? Metta, exactly. So that is the antidote, right? That is the medicine, arousing metta or loving. So it is easily said than done at times, but if you try, you can. Because when we see someone with whom we are angry, even I have got the experience, for you it might be different. The nose is shaking. So like that, for anybody, it can happen, right? Something you want to, because now you're trying to express your anger. But so the Buddha's teaching helps us to subdue. So the Buddha teaches in one place, if you can be like a cracked gong. Can you understand? A cracked gong, that means a big gantara bell. So it's cracked, right? When it is cracked, and when you hammer on it, when you strike on it, it won't produce any sound, right? So like that, you become calm. That means you don't put out your anger out. You become calm. You calm down. That itself will make a person enlightened, the Buddha says. In a particular verse of the Dhammapada, Sarambo te navijjati. Like that. That's only one part I can remember. So I have already explained the meaning. Just be like a cracked gong or a bell. So then you have already calmed down. You're not putting your anger out. Okay, so that is so the second part. When there's a person whom you don't like, you can generate loving kindness. So this is Anya Nimitta Gahana, means another taking the opposite, considering the opposite. Now, if it is a beautiful, you consider the ugly or the repulsive nature. If it is something ugly outside, that is, for example, with whom you're angry, then you arouse wholesome thoughts. That is the opposite. Prativiruddha sittavili, sitte ati karagani. So, and now the third part is now earlier we discussed animate things, which has life, right? Now the third and fourth are inanimate objects. Now consider something, we'll take a flower, a beautiful flower. It is inanimate, right? It is lifeless. That means it doesn't have any life, right? But scientifically also, even plants have life, but in a general sense, it doesn't have life, right? So then we consider, already we reflect these verses when we say, Vanna Gandha Gunopetang Etang Kusuma Santating Pujayami Munindassa Siripada Saroruhe Pujayami Buddhang Kusumena Nena Punyena Metena Labhami Mukkang Tuppam Milayati Yatha Idamni Kayo Tatha Yati Vinasabha. So this flower, when we offer the flower to the Buddha, this flower, which is attractive, beautiful, emanating fragrant, slowly it is also subject to change. It will come to destruction. The color will change. Finally, it will fade away and become destroyed. So, like that, we consider the impermanent nature of that inanimate object, anitya sabha. We reflect the impermanent nature. Okay, the fourth part of this is now there's something, an object which you don't like. Perhaps something you don't like to be here, okay, for example. So how can you confront that situation? So it's like this. Now, this thing which you don't like can be something, okay, for each individual. So it is also made out of the same components, out of which all the other things are also made of. What are they? What are all things made out of? That's right, exactly. I can hear the voice only from this side. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, and Vayu. So Patavi is hardness. Yeah, someone can you say what is Apo from this side. In single even it's okay, but මොකක්ද Apo කියන්නේ? Or වැగిරෙන ගස්. That is fluid, right? Or water is also Apo. All the things which are liquidity. Patavi, Apo, then Tejo. What is Tejo? Yeah, from the back, heat. Yeah, very good. Tejo, what is Vayu from this side? Gases, yes, or air. So solidity, fluidity, heat, or just another word. So we don't have to take difficult words. Cohesion, like that, also say in English. In simple terms, solid, fluid, heat, and air. So all these things are made out of those 4 elements, Satara Mahadhat. So if we take, now you might think now water does not have this pattern, but it also has, why? H2O, it is atoms, right? But what is most prominent in water is liquidity. ප්‍රකටව තියෙන්නේ ජලය ගත්තොත් ප්‍රකටව තියෙන්නේ වැగిරෙන ගතිය. Then when we take the earth, what is most prominent is solid, like that. So what I'm going to say is now the 4th way of thinking, something that you don't like. So it is also made out of the 4 elements, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. So why should you show any dislike towards that object if it is also made out of the same 4 elements? That's how the way you need to think. Okay, so I hope it is clear. That's only the first part. So I think half the battle is won now, because now it's not that difficult. So the next part is, even if you have pondered like this, thought over like this, even then the unpleasant thought is still arising in your mind. For example, you have tried to think about the loathsomeness of the body, still those unwholesome thoughts are coming to the surface of your mind. Then that is the next step now. Altogether, there are 5 steps. This is in the Vittakka Santana Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. How to get rid of distracting thoughts or removal of distracting thoughts. So even if the unwholesome thoughts are still persisting, still continuing, now you consider the danger of the danger of allowing these unwholesome thoughts to arise in your mind. Now, if you continue to have these unwholesome thoughts, what will happen? Even in the present, even in society, you will be looked down upon. Yes, you will be insulted. People will find fault with you. And so that will happen even in this worldly life, right? So that's the danger. And when you face death and when you are reborn, you will have to be reborn in a woeful state. That means you'll have to be reborn in hell. When you after death, you'll have to be reborn in hell. So like that, you consider the danger of giving in to unwholesome thoughts. So that's the second way of how to get rid of distracting thoughts. I hope it is clear. So now comes the third way. Even then, if the unwholesome thoughts are still persisting, still continuing, yeah, actually, there's also the Buddha also teaches a simile. After explaining this, I'll give the simile for each of these steps. So the third way is you simply forget those unwholesome thoughts. When I relate the simile, it will be very clear. So now simply you just forget the arising of these thoughts. Just forget. Like we just in the morning, you were asked to forget about all the other things, right? So like that, forget about those unwholesome thoughts. And the fourth step is, even if the unwholesome thoughts are still continuing, then you consider the cause. What is the first cause? How did it come? From where did it come? When I was thinking about what did these unwholesome thoughts come? How did they come? What is the first cause? You go step by step, you go to the cause. Like that. So that's where analyzing becomes useful, right? You analyze and see how did I come to this unwholesome thought, from which thought? And to that particular unwholesome thought, from where did I come to that particular unwholesome thought? Like that, you go to the one by one, you go back to the beginning of the arising of those unwholesome thoughts. So like that, so that's the fourth step. So even after thinking like that, if the unwholesome thoughts are still coming to your mind, so this is the fifth step. What is it? What do you think it is? Strong. Have you heard about it? Yeah. You have to be strong, not actually physically. Physical, that's the simile. Mentally, you're strong. Your mind is strong. That means after you have developed like mindfulness like this throughout a long period of time, consistently, then you gain some spiritual power, right? Then your mind is very powerful, just like a strong man, yeah? That's actually the simile. So your mind is very strong. So that helps to get rid of the unwholesome states of mind. Whenever they come, you know, these are unwholesome states of mind. So the fifth way is how to get rid of destructive thoughts is to arouse energy, that is through wholesome thoughts, through calling upon to your mind wholesome thoughts. It can be some wholesome action you have performed. You call upon to your mind these are wholesome acts. It can be thoughts, words, or actions. So that becomes very powerful, effective to remove those unwholesome states of mind. So that's how the Buddha teaches in this discourse, the Vittakka Santana Sutta, how to get rid of distracting thoughts. Okay, now the simile. So the first part, when you see, so you see something beautiful, animate and inanimate. So the simile is a carpenter trying to remove a peg or a nail. Now this peg or nail, it is rough. It is not smooth because it's fixed onto a surface for a long time. So it has got rotten and it is rough. So can you use another rough nail to remove that rough nail? That rough, yeah? Can you use another rough nail? No, what kind of nail do you have to use to remove that rough nail? ඒ කියන්නේ අර ගොරෝසු වෙච්ච ඇණය ඉවත් කරන්න මොන වගේ තව ඇණයක්ද පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන? සිනිඳු ඇණයක් නේ. A smooth nail. It needs to be sharp as well and smooth. Yeah. Only then you can remove that rough nail. So the simile shows that it is something opposite, right? When there's something beautiful, you consider the ugly or the repulsive nature, not the beautiful nature of the body, but the repulsive nature. That's why this is where Asubhanasati becomes important. Okay. So that's the first part. That is the similes to use a smooth peg or a nail, smooth peg instead of a rough peg. Then the second simile is now considering the danger of evil thoughts or unwholesome thoughts. So imagine in your shoulders you are carrying a corpse or a carcass of an animal, right? A corpse. Now, would you feel like carrying it, keeping it in your shoulders, the dead body? No. You become disgusted, right? Irritated. You don't feel like keeping it, right? So like that, when you allow unwholesome thoughts to be in your mind, also it will become, it is not useful at all, right? Others will find fault with you, and you'll be, others will insult you, and so and you will have to be reborn in hell, like that. So that's the second simile. And the third simile is to forget the unwholesome thoughts. So that is, the simile is to close your eyes. You're closing your eyes. So if you close your eyes, you won't be able to see who is in front of you. So like that, if you, that is, you forget those unwholesome thoughts, then you won't be able to see those unwholesome thoughts because you have forgotten. That is the third simile. The fourth simile is, so this is something very beautiful. When you consider that now you're walking, and what would happen if I stand? Someone who is walking considers that I am standing. Then while standing, you think, how would it be if I sit down, if I'm seated? Then while being seated, you consider, what if I was lying down? Like that, you go back to a posture which is very not something difficult, but to a simple posture. First from walking, then standing, then sitting down, standing, sitting down, sorry, walking, standing, sitting down, and finally sleeping or lying down. Okay, so that's the fourth simile. And the fifth simile is imagine you're a strong man or a strong woman. So like that, strong man defeating a weak man, or a strong woman defeating a weak woman, like that. So that's just a simile. So like that, just what is strong is the mind. how can we strengthen the mind through applying mindfulness by being mindful, sati. Okay, so I hope you have been listening to the Dhamma and how to make your practice more useful and beneficial in daily life. So also, if there are any questions, also we can have about 10 to 15 minutes, right? So I would also like to share something which I have heard. Now, a question might come while we are doing day-to-day work. How can we be mindful? Now, someone who is working in an office, in the office, right? So I heard in a Dhamma talk, a senior monk told, the last minute you can keep to practice meditation, just simply to focus your mind on the breath, right? Something very simple. Now, if you are working for 1 hour, the last minute you can keep. If you are working for 8 hours, then you have meditated 8 minutes. But sometimes it's not, you don't feel like doing it, but if you think, you can do it. You can set aside the last minute to practice, simply to calm down and bring your attention to the breath, to be mindful. Okay, now we can have, once again, we can have a break or meditation. Yes, sure. Yeah, I can remember what you asked, I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I can say it. I will say it. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. So it's like this. Katancha bhikkave bhikkhu vedanasu vedanānupassī viharati. Ida bhikkave bhikkhu sukhang vedanang vediyamano sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajānāti. Dukkhaṃ vedanang vediyamano dukkhaṃ vedanang vediyamiti pajānāti. Adukkama sukhang vedanang vediyamano adukkama sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajānāti. Sāmisaṃ sukhang vedanang vediyamano sāmisaṃ sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajānāti. Nirāmisaṃ sukhang vedanang vediyamano nirāmisaṃ sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajānāti. Like that, others also there. Dukkhang vedanam vediyamano, dukkhang vedanam. Sāmisaṃ dukkhang vedanam vediyamano, sāmisaṃ dukkhang vedanam vediyamiti pajāmi. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So just in brief, sukhang vedanam vediyamano. So actually that is a very suitable question because it is helpful for our practice also. Sukhang vedana, that means when you're experiencing delight, happiness. So you have to now be careful. You must not get attracted to it because you have to consider that is also something passing by. You have to just observe. To your question, I'll come slowly. Sukhang vedana. So while you're experiencing a pleasant state of mind, you know, you're aware that you're experiencing this a pleasant state of mind. As it is, you observe. Sukhang vedanam vediyamano. Sukhang Vedanam Vediyami iti pajama. Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyamano, Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyami iti pajama. That means dukkha means Vedana. That means something unpleasant. So I think I have said pain is our friend, right? Can you remember? Pain is the meditator's friend. So when pain arises, you don't dislike it. That means you don't show any this kind of dislike. The moment even the subtlest dislike can aggravate the pain. You have to experience it. Okay. If you show even the slightest dislike, oh, no, I don't like the pain, like that. Those are the thoughts coming, right? So it can. What will happen is it will try to dominate your mind. So what we have to do, just observe as it is. Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyamano, Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyameti Pajami. The worst thing that can happen is to get your leg amputated, right? That is the worst thing. But such a thing won't happen. So you're just observing the pain. Yeah, it will go away on its own accord. Don't wish the pain to go away. That is what happens. If you wish, may it go away. Like may I be born in heaven. Like that is just a wish. So that is wishful thinking. So you don't wish, but you observe as it is. That is the most important thing. To your question, I'll come slowly because this is important. I am just highlighting this. Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyamano, Dukkhang Vedanam Vediyameti Pajama. Adukkama Sukhang Vedanam Vediyamano, Adukkama Sukhang Vedanam Vediyameti Pajama. That means it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant. In the middle, neutral feelings. So we all observe neutral feelings. So when we are observing them, feelings in the body, we are aware, mindful and aware of these feelings. Then Samisam Sukham Vedanam Vediyamam. Amisa means now all these things, for example, we take now the food, what you offered to the Buddha and you offered the Maha and what you all partook of. So all these are food, what we need, food, shelter, clothes, medicine. So these are things, material things, the basic requirements, 4 requisites. Yeah? So those are amisa. Samisa is, so niramisa means when you let go of those things. Now you have let go, you have given up all the household affairs, right? All your, all what you like, all the things which are always with you, you have given up. So those are your pleasing, but through which you can place your senses, right? For example. So this is what you are doing now is like niramisa. You're experiencing niramisa. It can be sukhang or dukkhang. Happiness. If it is now, for example, niramisa dukkha, we don't have to consider each, take the exact meaning. We can just try to, without thinking about the words, we can try to think about how it applies in our practice. So, niramisa dukkha, we can say, when you now you have already given up material things. Now the pain arising in the body is something niramisa dukkha, for example. Niramisa sukham means when you're practicing meditation, you're experiencing happiness, delight, peaceful mind. That is niramisa sukham. Samisa means when you're already experiencing sensual pleasures, when you're having food, tasting, you're enjoying, right? That's no harm. You can enjoy. Samisan Sukham Vedana. No need to think about that too much. In a basic way, we can say, don't try to think about the words too much, because I'm also not I'm not so specific about those meanings, because what I try is with the practice a lot. So you can later on you can refer to a book and try to get the exact meaning if you wish. So samisa is amisa is material sensual pleasures. So samisa is actually sensual pleasures. I mean, it's a step further towards a little bit attached, we can say, not attached, but in a healthy way, right? I would say attached in a healthy way. This is according to my own words, I'm just saying, okay? Attached in a healthy way towards worldly things. But that means now if you take a good example is the Sabbasava Sutta. That is also in the Majjhima Nikaya. I won't be talking about it this time, perhaps next time. So Sabbasava Sutta, the Buddha does not deny worldly happiness. Now we are having what the things we are need when we are seeing, when we are using the 4 requisites. Of course, we can enjoy them. So actually, Samisang is not. I don't think it's with keles. You're just experiencing Samisambhasaka, happiness through sensual pleasure. Yeah, you haven't